76. Wounded Roots. As I stood at the precipice, gazing into the abyss of an impossible choice, I felt the familiar ache of relinquishment. The echoes of my adoption experience whispered through the corridors of my mind, taunting me with the ghosts of abandonment and rejection. Like a dark mist, these shadows crept in, threatening to consume me whole. The weight of Esther Marie's ultimatum threatened to shatter the fragile threads of my identity, weaving a tapestry of grief, loss, and depression. In that moment, I felt the ground beneath me tremble. The fractured self, a constant companion since my adoption, stirred within me. I had spent years searching for inclusivity, for a sense of belonging that seemed forever elusive. The pain of being torn between two worlds, two identities, and two narratives had become a relentless, haunting refrain. No one seemed to grasp the depth of my anguish, the complexity of my emotions. Alone, I navigated the labyrinthine corridors of my soul. Relinquishment, the act of surrendering one's child, had left an indelible mark on my psyche. The root wound, a chasm of grief and loss, yawned open, threatening to consume me whole. But I had confronted this abyss before and emerged scarred yet stronger. Within its depths lay a spark of resilience, a flame of courage that flickered with each passing day. I had discovered my voice, and with it, my truth. My heart broke, shattered into a million shards of sorrow as I contemplated the choice before me. The shards cut deep, threatening to silence me forever. But I knew I had to speak my truth, no matter how impossible it seemed. For in silence lay annihilation, a slow death of the soul. I had to declare my boundaries, assert my worth, and reclaim my identity. This was my moment of reckoning. It was May 2023. Keith and I had only been at Forever Free Farm for a short while. We were ecstatically happy. I had hoped that the serene atmosphere of Forever Free Farm would foster healing and reconciliation in Esther Marie's heart. Esther Marie, her husband, and his parents were coming to South Africa for a short vacation. We had invited them to stay with us on the farm for a few days. But then she dropped the bombshell. She refused to see Keith or be in his company. They wouldn't stay over at our place. Instead, she suggested meeting for coffee in a nearby town, just the two of us. I felt the ground give way beneath me. I was shattered, utterly annihilated by her rejection, faced with an impossible choice: speak my truth or sacrifice my integrity to appease her. Do I stand up for Keith, for our relationship and our dreams, or do I sacrifice my integrity to salvage a fragile connection with her? In desperation, I poured my heart out to her in a long emotional voice note. I explained that I wouldn't be able to meet with her alone. Keith would have to be present. I wasn't prepared to repeat the mistakes of the past, cutting someone I love out of my life for the sake of others. Curie's childhood experiences, isolated on an island, had taught me the value of inclusivity and unity. I pleaded with her to reconsider, to choose forgiveness over resentment. I begged her to let go of the past and move forward, to embrace the present and the people we'd become. I urged her to get to know Keith, to see beyond her preconceived notions and discover the man he'd become. She didn't know him, not really, not like I did, and I knew he wanted to build a relationship with her, to connect and leave a legacy. He changed so much since our visit to Europe, grown into a compassionate and empathetic person. I'd transformed too, blossoming into a stronger, wiser woman. But she hadn't seen this side of us, hadn't witnessed our growth. My words fell on deaf ears. Esther Marie broke off all communication with me, severing our bond as cleanly as if I had never been her mother. The finality of her rejection left me reeling. In the darkness that followed, I couldn't shake off the haunting thought, had the bonds of adoption not been broken over us? Did the sacred cycle of relinquishment still hold sway, unseen and unwanted by me? I dared not speak it aloud, but the pain whispered it relentlessly. All I yearned for was to love her, to be loved by her, to bridge the chasm between us. Yet, in that abyss of sorrow, a spark within me flickered. I realized that my worth wasn't tied to Esther Marie's acceptance. I didn't need her validation to reclaim my identity. In that moment, I transcended the scars of relinquishment, the weight of abandonment, and the grief of loss. I rose above the fractured self, embracing the wholeness of my being. I chose unity, integrity, and love, not just for myself, but for those who had been marginalized, excluded, and silenced. I was no longer held captive by the chains of adoption, by the expectations of others. I would forge my own path, navigate my own narrative. For I was a phoenix, risen from the ashes of relinquishment, my spirit unbroken, my soul aflame. I had found my voice, and with it my truth. I would speak it, no matter the cost, for in doing so I would set my soul free. Unbeknownst to me, a cataclysmic storm was brewing, one that would summon every ounce of strength, every hard-won lesson, and every scarred-over wound. This seismic event would shatter the foundations of my existence, plunging me into an abyss of unbearable sorrow. Yet, paradoxically, it would become the crucible for my transformation, refining my spirit, rebirthing my soul, and revealing that the darkness was not meant to destroy me, but to heal me.